Hello, my name is Carl. I'm 2 Echo 0 Echo Zulu Tango, and this is Delta Zero Golf Betsy. So there's two reasons for this video. One is I have had a number of comments asking about giving some advice on how to prepare to go out and play radio, portable radio, what gear to take, you know, how do you do portable radio. But second is a chance for me to have an audit and to actually go through my equipment. So it's been about 5 weeks now since we've had a lockdown in the UK, and I've done no portable work in that time. And one thing that is really apparent is that when you first start going portable and taking a radio out on it in a backpack or going camping, is on those first few occasions there's so much planning that you have to do, so many things that you have to think about to be organised, but in time, when you go out regular, like I was doing, I was going out once, maybe twice a week, is that a lot of the kit is already pre-packed, and you also get in the habit of knowing what to check and what to replenish. So the aim today really is for me to go through my equipment and to share, just shoot from the hip a little bit, just to reflect a little bit on what I'm doing, what I'm looking for, and how I'm approaching organising the equipment. And hopefully by just sharing that might help others with their first portable adventures. So that's the plan. What do you reckon? Right, I've turned the camera on me because Betsy's not really interested. I have to keep moving about to keep in the shade or else I get burnt. This video might go on for a bit, so what I might have to do is break this down into two videos. I'll see anyway as I start pulling this together. So I tend to break down the whole equipment into different compartments, different kits. It helps me just to go through each one of them, make sure I've got all the gear that I need, because there's nothing worse than getting somewhere and not having the right amount of gear. So to go and play outdoor radio, you're going to need some basic stuff, which is a radio and an antenna and a power source. So the antenna kit you mostly will comprise of some sort of mast to put the antenna up, or a telescopic pole of some type. And these can come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes. So that was the DX Commander 10 meter, which in itself can be a whole DX Commander kit. So that's the whole DX Commander kit in there, which is great for, I'd say it's great for the car camping and the afternoon car static mobile, and a little bit of the expedition type stuff. But for backpack, it's quite a lot of gear with the pole to take up with you. There's a smaller DX Commander pole which does make life a lot easier, but I'll come on to other alternatives to using something like a DX or backpack. Something else I use is a 4 meter pole. Is it 4 meters? Is it 4.1 meters? It's Spirit of the Air. This with a spike in the ground gives you enough to put up a if you're working 2 meters, it's enough to put up a Slim Jim like this one I've got here. So I've got a Slim Jim with a bit of extra coax on here. I'll tell you about these in a minute. These are bane of my life, really important, but they're an absolute bane. Right, having a fight there. So a very simple setup is a simple Slim Jim on top of either a 10 meter pole, or even on top of a 4 meter pole with a spike in the ground for a very simple backpack. So I really appreciate my Slim Jim. I've made a couple of my own up for 6 meters and 4 meters, but this is one I just got off the internet. Fantastic, but it's allowed me many times to get out in the open. So the antenna, you need the antenna itself, you need some coax, maybe different lengths of coax, 10 meters, 5 meters, some patch cables. Really important is a way to fasten the antenna up, and I tend to use these, which are, these will hook into everything and anything. If you've got wire anywhere, these will definitely find the way around them. So some bungee cords. So antenna, you need to make sure that you can get an antenna in the air, you can plug it into your radio. So to do that, you'll need to make sure that you've got all the right adapters for your radio. So one of the ones that tend to catch people out is the this is an N type, especially on Yaesu radios. If you want to use 2 meters, you may have coax that is just a PL 259s. You might just have coax that's got PL 259s on, whereas this allows you then to plug that into numerous radios. Sometimes you'll need to extend your pieces of coax. This is an absolute must-have in your kit, is the BNC adapter as well, because nothing worse than climbing up somewhere, and I've done this, climbing up somewhere and then you find out you've got this and you've got a radio that's got that on the back of it. It's just not gonna be a good day for you at all. So make sure that you've got a bunch of adapters. Make sure you've got enough to go around. Another part of the antenna kit is I tend to use the Superantenna. I don't tend to build up the Superantenna in its original configuration. I tend to use parts of the Superantenna with the 1979 to build up different types of 20 meter and 17 meter type antennas. I've only just started to do that, so if I'm car camping, I'll take the full Superantenna kit, because you've got all different spare bits and bobs in there that can be quite useful. But if I'm doing backpack, then I will just take exactly what I need and leave the rest of this behind. So you've got your antenna, you've got your coax, you've got your adapters. Next you're going to need a radio. The radios are quite important for doing outdoor radio, so I've discovered that a couple of times now. So one of the radios I've been taking out for HF a fair bit is this lightweight radio, the Xiegu X108G. I know I probably need to get a replacement for this at some point, because on this version of the X108 the screen is almost black in sunlight. I'm joined by the superstar itself, Sophie, in the background. I will talk about the different bags that I use, probably in a different video, because actually bags and protective gear and clothing is actually an important part as well, but I'll cover that in a later video. Another radio I tend to use is the IC7200, and you've seen this a few times now. Let me just get this beast out. So this is definitely more for the static mobile car camping type radio. Fantastic beast, absolutely lovely, great receiver on it, great audio quality, really simple to use under challenging conditions like low light. Let's just put that there. I promise I won't kick it. So I tend to use that a lot if I'm just stopping overnight in a camping barn or camping out, or even just like lunchtime. I tend to use the FT3D as well with the Slim Jim. That's a very simple setup. You can fit that into a very small backpack, just enough to get a flask of tea in there and the logbook, which is a really important part of the kit as well. I have been adding, let me just get this back out again. You've probably noticed that on quite a lot of the radios now I'm using the power poles. Please believe me, this makes life so much easier, because before I had different radios with different fault connectors on the end and all sorts, and it was a nightmare to get that connected to any battery. You couldn't just grab one battery and the radio and just take them out, because you wouldn't be able to connect them together. So convert everything to the same standard, whether it's PowerPole, which is probably the better one. Just convert them all to a universal standard, so you can just grab radios and batteries and plug them together and get going. Talking about batteries, I tend to use Lipo batteries. These are ones made by Turnigy and Zippy. Zippy battery, I don't know if you can see these or not. Just Lipo batteries. What I have done, let me just pull this apart, is I convert these from the I think they're called XT90s or XT60s, and I keep these on so I can charge them, but then I convert these so that I can convert them then to power poles. And what I have got here with this one is, let me just pull this out, this unit allows me to join the batteries together to give me obviously a longer power supply. These are quite good adapters, and then convert all that to power pole. I have got battery testers for these. I've got a little battery tester which is in my kit somewhere, so I need to remember to get that out. Always have a battery tester so you can make sure that when you're out, or just before you go out, check your battery condition. So making contacts, keeping a log, massively important. I've got one of these all-weather notepads which does survive in pretty damp conditions. I've also got a very light paper log. I don't take a computer with me. I always find that having a computer is more things to worry about. I don't tend to do data modes. I don't tend to do FT8 or JS8, especially if I'm doing backpack. As a spare radio, sometimes I take my FT817 in the back of the car, because you can just charge that up with internal batteries. You can put that out the way, and if you get somewhere and something happens to one of these two radios, you have got at least something to get you on the air. Nice cup of tea. There's nothing worse than actually being out on top of nothing worse than being out in the middle of nowhere, or even just car camping, or even lunchtime radio, where you want to just put an antenna in the air, you want to get some wire up in the air, you want to make some contacts, and you find out that something's broken, something needs fixing. So it's always worth having a repair kit of some nature. I tend to have one of those little foldable kits with screwdrivers in and pliers and cutters. I've got one of those in the back of the car. I've got a Leatherman that goes inside one of these bags as well. I need to find that Leatherman. Lots of gaffer tape. You can fix most things with gaffer tape. Highly recommended. Comes highly recommended as gaffer tape. I'm having to make notes because there's things that are missing from the kit, such as a repair kit, battery checkers, battery testers. They've been taken out. So I think it's always good, especially when you first start out, to make a list and check through that list, and then just write down what's missing and make sure that's replaced. Otherwise you're going to get out there and you're going to be struggling. Okay, so for any sort of longer term periods out playing radio, operating the radio, enjoying yourselves, either car camping or climbing up somewhere with a backpack, taking some food and some drink and some beverages is to keep it. There's nothing worse than a grumpy operator. They don't call them ham operators for nothing. So I just made that up. I think it was funny. I might keep that in. I sometimes tend to take a full MRE kit, either a 24-hour kit or a 12-hour kit. The American ones are okay. There's some decent ones if you shop around and get the right menus. The British Army rations are decent, some really nice tasting food in there. and then you tend to find out there's some spare bits that you can then take out for light lunches. If you're not out all day, you can mix and match whatever's left from your ration packs, but they pack really light. These ones come on with a flameless heater, so you don't really need to take anything like this to heat it in. But I sometimes take this, need to find the lid for that, and that just clamps on with the burner onto the bottom of here, and you can reheat your food in there. Always have a brukit, which is needs replacing. Brukit and top. So brukit's massively important. I take a flask with me a lot. You've probably seen in lots of videos where I just take a flask and maybe a banana. That usually is enough for an afternoon, but if you're out any longer period of time, especially if you're in adverse conditions, having enough equipment, enough protective equipment and food to get through a few hours is vitally important as well. So I hope you found that was useful. I hope it didn't waffle on too long. Please, if you've got experiences and ideas and comments, add them in below. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you're not yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button. There's a little notification bell down there as well to get notified when the videos do come out. And yeah, hopefully we'll know in the next week or so if and when we can start to go outdoors a bit more with the radio. Until then, just keep on prepping, and I'll catch you soon. Stay safe. Bye bye.